Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing a video on why I like the episode A Town Called Mercy of Doctor Who. It's it's I think episode 4 or 5 in series 7, part 1 or part A or whatever some people call it, like, yes, 7A and then 7B and that, and I've always been really sort of not against that, but just always found that a bit odd personally. I just call it like series 7 part 1 and part 2. But anyway, yeah, it's Toby Whithouse, however you pronounce his second name, story. I really enjoy it. I think it's honestly one of the most standout episodes of the first half of series 7. And I like the fact that it's really simple, but it's effective. You know, it's not an episode that you need to know loads of knowledge about, like, say, 60s, 70s or 80s Doctor Who or whatever, or even the Russell T Davies era of the show. You know, it's one of those really good sort of jumping on point episodes to the show. You know, like if you were just, for lack of a better term, channel surfing. No one does that anymore, but man, that makes me feel old. But if in this hypothetical scenario you were doing that and you did just come across this, I'd like to think you'd be kind of somewhat drawn to it, you know. It is a really cool sort of western, spaghetti western type thing, slash Westworld, you know, sci-fi meets sci-fi meets, as I say, the western, you know, with the baddie, the gunslinger, who, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still really shocked and surprised they still, character options still haven't made a 5-inch action figure of, because I would buy that in a heartbeat. You know, it's one of those, yeah, I think Toby Whithouse, other than, say, maybe Moffat and Russell and some of the more top tier new series writers, who are really big Doctor Who fans, or just really good at just creating, like, yeah, like one-off-y type villainous sort of designed creatures, you know, like Toby Whithouse is what I was getting at, like yeah, like the Fisher King, and then the vampire type fish creatures, and then, as I said, the Fisher King, and then the Gunslinger and the Minotaur, and that, you know. Yeah, sure, maybe it's not, you know, Stephen Moffat levels of, like, creativity of, like, baddie monster sort of thing, but it's not bad by any means. I like the side characters of, like, Isaac, and Amy and Rory, and that, and the companions. I mean, Rory doesn't get much to do, but Amy gets a little bit more. But yeah, I think they're pretty decent, and that, I like the fact that it's about the moral dilemma of, like, Carla Jex, I think it is, and what he did to the cyborg, and that, and the morality of that, and, you know, the Doctor's morality, and that, and the Doctor, spoiler alert, but I think one of the standout scenes for me in this episode is the one where the Doctor snaps and gets the gun and points it at Carla Jex, I think his name is, or Carla Tech, I can't remember, but the alien Doctor dude, and points it at him, and he's like, you know, you think he's about to shoot, and then Amy's like, you know, shoots, and then ends up being like, Doctor, when was all this violence an option, you know, or a thing that we do, you know, and then he kind of, like, venomously says, you know, I'm honouring the victims of, you know, the Master, the Dalek, the Daleks, they all come back, they, you know, all the people who have died because of my mercy, I'm honouring them, you know, and then, yeah, she makes the point, like, this is why you shouldn't be alone for too long, because, on your own, because you need a companion to ground you in, you know, in that human core value of, like, you know, not going off the rails, as it were. As I say, I love the setting. I love the fact that it's a 45-minute episode, but it just goes like that. It just flies by. Like, the pacing is very quick. You know, you could argue, yeah, maybe if it was a two-parter or if it was longer, there'd be better side characters or a bit better world building. But honestly, considering the shortness of the episode and the constraint of just having 45 minutes, I think they get a lot done in that 45 minutes. I like the simplicity of the Carla as a race, where it's basically just like humans, but with, like, that tattooed sort of thing on the side of their face. You know, I like the music. The music's pretty decent, fits well with the sort of Western theme of the the sort of setting. I'm not a fan of the title sequence. I really don't like any of the title sequences in the first half of Series 7 and that, because they're all like individualized for that specific episode, kind of like that whole poster idea of having the poster first and then the episode, and it didn't really work, really, I don't think, having these big blockbustery sort of things. The pre-title sequence thing is very quick, very snappy and very brutal as well, I guess. And that, and what else? It's just, yeah, I mean, again, Rory doesn't get much to do, unfortunately, and that Isaac's good. I like the fact that the Doctor, spoiler I guess if you haven't seen the episode, but the Doctor becomes sheriff and that. I love Matt wearing a Stetson. He's really cool wearing a Stetson. It's the Undertaker gag thing kind of works for me, and some of Matt's comedy is really on point in the story as well, but he does the sort of angry, serious, sort of venomous, like, I have seen things and I know what you're going through, but like, you don't get to choose how you repent for, you know, being a war hero. I say that in inverted commas, war hero, even though he butchered people on the operating table. And that, I like his ship as well. It's like a giant Tic Tac or an egg in the desert, and that. Again, the design of the gunslinger is very sort of Clint Eastwood meets sort of Cybermen, sort of, you know, the Borg type, you know, sort of fused together. You know, I definitely say it's one of the stronger episodes. Honestly, it's probably, I want to say, maybe my top 3, top 5 of that series, of Series 7, altogether, maybe even. I really do like it. I don't know what the main consensus in the fan base is, whether or not it's mainly seen as a really shit episode or as a really good episode. But either way, I'd be hard pressed to give it lower than like a 5 personally. Like 5 is slap bang in the middle for me, and then less than 5, and it's, you know, you're getting to like really shitty episodes, and then like sort of 5 or 6 is sort of average to a little bit above average, and then 7, 8, 9 and 10 are just like, you know, sublime episodes. So, you know, or again, stronger as the scale goes up, obviously. And so, yeah, I don't know, do I even rate the episodes in this format on the channel? I don't know, but either way, I'd definitely say, I think a strong 7, you know, like, I think giving it an 8 would be a bit much. Maybe an 8, I don't know, or a 7.5, I don't know. But either way, giving it an 8 would be a bit much. I think I seem to very rarely give things 8s out of 10s. But a 7, I feel like I give every other story a 7 out of 10 of the new series anyway. And then a 6, a 5 or a 6 seems a bit too harsh personally, but yeah. And yeah, I like a lot of the supporting cast sort of characters, like that young kid and the black dude and the girl and the sort of just, yeah, like, I guess, yeah, that's another thing, like, although I do like those characters, they're never really named or anything, so I guess the only real side character other than Carla Jackson, the other cyborg and the alien doctor dude, is Isaac, really. He's the only other character who's named. And then, yeah, you've got the Doctor and Amy and Rory and that. Again, I do really think Matt Smith's really good in this. I think it's one where he probably had a lot of fun with the role and playing this sort of cowboy western, you know, sort of run around, for lack of a better term, you know. It really is just like a fun, for lack of a better term, feels very classic Who-esque, you know, just like a quick run around, or like the closest to a classic series sort of story, but in the new series, if that kind of makes sense, in so much as it's sort of fun, bubbly, sort of just run aroundy nature, you know. It's not, again, it's nothing, I like it because it's not very sort of heavy in terms of Doctor Who lore or references or any of that. Like, it's one of those episodes you could just show to a new fan, or someone, not a new fan, but a new person getting into Doctor Who, or if you wanted them to get into Doctor Who, I could see you maybe picking this episode as a first Matt Smith story, maybe, you know. And I think that's what I like about it, you know. It's accessible and it feels refreshing, oddly enough. Like, it feels like something Doctor Who hasn't done before, or or feels at least if it has, it hasn't done it for a long time. Like I'm pretty sure there's the gunfighters in the 1960s, so you know you've gone from 1960s all the way to 2012, and they're the only two like Western, so very Western heavy specific Doctor Who episodes in Doctor Who in the televised show anyway. I think one last criticism I've just thought of that's popped into my head that I can think of is maybe the Sonic's used a little bit much. I mean, there is a really weird bit right at the beginning where like a bunch of people, oh no, not a bunch of people, Amy and Rory say, oh look, these are a bunch of logs of wood and sticks and stones, and then the Doctor like gets out the Sonic, scans it, and Rory or Amy is like, what's that? What is it then, Doctor? And he's like, it's a lot of sticks and rocks and, you know, logs of wood. And it's like, they just said that. Like, it was really weird. It just seemed like honestly, it seemed more like a bit of the script or a bit of like the episode that could have been cut as like for something else. Like, yeah, sure, it only takes up like maybe like a minute at most, if that. Like a couple seconds at most, or like a minute at that, as I say, of the runtime. But either way, it's just like it was just a really weird thing to have like pretty early on after the really strong pre-title sequence, and then the shitty title sequence in this episode, and then the rest of the story. But yeah, I really do like A Town Called Mercy. It's a fun Matt Smith sort of story. I could maybe see it maybe working with Tennant, not so much Eccleston, or I can't see it working with the Ninth Doctor and Eccleston, although it breaks my heart to say that. And likewise, I can't imagine it really working with Capaldi. I'm not sure with Jodie, because she's kind of like an amalgamation of 10 and 11, or at least she definitely was in series 11, ironically enough. But yeah, that was my sort of review / positive video about the episode, the Doctor Who episode, A Town Called Mercy. Please do feel free to comment or comment below what your thoughts on this episode are. Yeah, thanks for watching. Comment, rate and subscribe.